Sideline Sedo here, back again quickly to talk about some updates regarding the Pgmol Liverpool situation. They put out a statement yesterday effectively acknowledging significant human error that occurred during the first half of the Tottenham Liverpool fixture. Basically said that the goal was disallowed for offside, and this was a clear and obvious factual error that should have resulted in goal being awarded through VAR intervention. I talked about this a bit in my video yesterday. I didn't think it was offside. I reacted to the match. Liverpool got robbed. And I mean, you could see it here. I mean, this isn't even that high resolution. His leg is right there. You draw a line, mate. There's no way that he's not miles on, with this foot right here. That's just not happening. But ultimately, I don't know. The way I see it is them acknowledging this is just an even worse kind of spotlight, even harsher spotlight on how referees in England and around the world operate. Because, you know, human error, whatever. The Premier League decided to go with this method of having, say, the likes of, an assistant VAR, video assistant referee. Basically, they're present to confirm and deny these checks. And as opposed to taking the approach of implementing this new technology that we saw at the last World Cup, where you would have, these offsides that were automated and it would make it a lot easier, they have made an insular group which defends itself and ultimately ruins the beautiful game we love. And if you think I'm being a little harsh, I'm going to pull up an article here by the times.co.uk. Darren England, he was on VAR duties, as well as Dan Cook. They both were in charge of the VAR studio, which communicated to Simon Cooper. And guess what? 48 hours before that error, there was a match that they officiated in the United Arab Emirates. I'll let that sink in. The United Arab Emirates. That is halfway across the world. They got back the day before. So they're still slightly jet lagged. They're up for, a 5:30 p.m. London time fixture. And they made this mistake and it should have stood. And now what? What are we as Liverpool fans, we as fans of the sport supposed to do? Are we supposed to wait until this impacts another fixture down the line? Maybe Luton ends up getting robbed of some points. What if that keeps them from staying up? This is bigger than Liverpool. And I know I was pretty salty yesterday, and I'd say to some extent, rightfully so. But this is just unacceptable. I mean, that first statement, acknowledging that there was clear kind of error there, along with the fact that the Pgmol announced that VAR Darren England thought the on-field decision was that Luis Diaz's goal had been given. The check complete was made under the assumption that the goal would stand and Diaz was onside. How hard can it be to just finish your sentence with check complete, the goal stands? The goal stands. That's 3 words, man. 3 words. I don't know. This is just, it's not just disgusting. It's not just seemingly corrupt. It's not just purely incompetent, but I just can't believe how detrimental this is to the game. Because if this continues in the Premier League, God knows how it's going to end up. Finally, we're going to end with a quick statement from Liverpool, and make sure to comment down below. I want to hear what you have to say about all this. It's just an absolute clown show, in my opinion, but it's a very brief statement. Liverpool says, "We fully accept the pressures that match officials work under, but these pressures are supposed to be alleviated, not exacerbated by the existence and implementation of VAR." That line is just total facts. Every football fan should probably agree with that. It's just very straightforward. It is therefore unsatisfactory that sufficient time was not afforded to allow the correct decision to be made and that there was no subsequent intervention. Also facts. That such failings have already been categorized as significant human error is also unacceptable. Also true. Any and all outcomes should be established only by the review and with full transparency. That is an interesting point for them to make. They already came out and said, yeah, it should have stood. And now they're going to investigate it further. What is there to investigate? You have An official who was just in the United Arab Emirates a whole 2 days before. He got back to the UK a day before he had to officiate. There's no reason for him to be going halfway across the world to officiate when he's officiating for the top flight of the Premier League, of just general English football, the English football pyramid. The pinnacle is the Premier League. That should be the dream of most of these officials in England. Why are you going to UAE? I mean, I don't have a subscription here, so I can't really see the details, but it's just abhorrent. It's shocking. It's a total badge of corruption. If it's not corrupt from like an intrinsic personal gain, from these people gaining the most amount of money by, say, potentially match fixing, then it's just a pure corruptness of letting them be free to do whatever they please and not having any sort of reign on them, because you just have no consistency. Regardless, since VAR has been implemented, since we've gone down this route in the Premier League, the quality of the officiating has gone down, just down. And now that it's going down at an even quicker rate, it's only going to continue to deteriorate. And that's really what I'm concerned about. The statement ends up basically saying that it's vital for the reliability of future decision making as it applies to all clubs with learnings being used to make improvements to processes in order to ensure that this kind of situation cannot occur again. In the meantime, we will explore the range of options available given the clear need for escalation and resolution. Thank you, Liverpool, for this statement, because it's just to the point. It's exactly what needs to be said, because whether you support Liverpool, whether you support Tottenham, and even as a Tottenham fan, you probably are like, yeah, even if you are aware of this being, the wrong call, the offside, then I think to some degree you can understand, even if you're happy with the result you got yesterday, for just the greater good of the sport. It just can't continue like this. What happens when Tottenham ends up getting a goal wrongfully disallowed? What starts happening? I mean, it happens all the time, but if it keeps happening, then the kind of, meritocracy element of the sport just ceases to exist and it stops being competitive. It'll just start being an absolute charade and more of a soap opera than anything else. So those are my thoughts. The Pgmol, just totally, absolutely corrupt. They should be disbanded. They should not have the right to self-govern. I think that's just stupid. Like, just blatantly stupid. You look at any organization from a bottom up to a top down level, regardless of how you want to look at something. If you allow a group of highly specialized, in this case referees, highly specialized individuals who are trained to do X, Y, or Z, in this case officiate football matches, if you let them self-govern, and there's no punitive measures besides being taken off the main duty and doing VAR instead that week, or maybe missing out 1 week and then being brought back. If there's no accountability, if there's no punitive measures, if there's no boundaries being set, then it's just a facade and a charade, an absolute farce, and that's truly what it is. So I just don't know really what else to say about this. I hope that VAR can somehow get handled. It makes no sense that, maybe the FA or some other governing body wouldn't at least regulate this. I just think it's stupid on the behalf of the English Premier League because, quite frankly, you're destroying your own product. And you have teams, in Saudi Arabia offering the top stars in the Premier League huge sums of cash to play for them. What do you expect? Those players start going. If you start disillusioning and disenfranchising more fans, the sport in England will continue to kind of plateau. There won't be a kind of effective glass ceiling as, more kind of proactive leagues take shape. And yeah, the Premier League will just be left in the dust in probably like a 10, 15, 20-year time span. It won't be immediate, but this will pile on. And within the long term, the Prem could be irrelevant because of this, because it's getting laughable. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Make sure to comment down below. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Like the video if you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. I'm Sideline Sedo. Peace.